Who decides how much you pay, and why do those pumped up prices keep changing? CTV's Shannon Patterson investigates.
It's like a punch in the gut when we pull into a gas station, but do you have any idea how they determine the price on that sign?
No.
Do you have any sense of how pricing works?
No, not at all.
Do you wish that the gas companies could explain it to you?
Yeah, it'll be good. That'll be very helpful.
So we asked major gas retailers like Chevron and Petro-Canada and small ones like Super Save Gas and Otter Co-op who sets the daily price and why it changes so often. None of them would talk to us. The industry association suggested this analyst.
What a site is generally doing is looking to see what the sites that are competitive with it are doing. So what is the guy down the street doing?
So they'll either drive around and monitor, or else some filling station owner looks out his window, looks at your price down the street and says, oh, okay, calls your price back into his war room, then they adjust. So everybody matches everybody else's price.
This can happen several times in a single day.
This may not seem logical, but that's evidence of competitive behavior. Again, they're moving quickly to try to remain competitive with the guys down the street.
The Competition Bureau would look at it and say, that kind of thing, yeah, acceptable, as long as you and I are not sitting down and agreeing to actually fix the price per se.
It might not be illegal, but maybe it should be.
The president of the Canadian Consumers Association says gas retailers know there's no advantage to keeping a lower price if it's immediately matched, so they go back up in unison.
There's obviously something completely wrong when all of the marketing principles that we've known over the years are being totally violated.
He believes the margins on gas are larger than the retailers admit and wants Metro Vancouver drivers to demand price transparency.
One of the problems that we got in Canada is that we're all so nice.
We keep filling up and the price keeps on climbing.
A new report confirms what drivers have long suspected. You are being gouged on gas.
Gasoline prices in the Lower Mainland have dropped a bit from their high of $1.60 back in May, but you are still paying a premium. The Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives studied the world price of oil versus the price of gasoline over the last 6 years.
If folks remember back in 2014 and 2015, we saw oil prices collapse. They dropped about 68% from top to bottom, but the price of gasoline dropped by only 18% in Vancouver. So what you had happen was refiners and retailers stepping in to take increased profits on the downside.
In 2014, the world price of oil plummeted to less than $40 a barrel from its high of $140 a barrel 10 years ago. But the price at the pump has never come close to the same drop. Even today, the world price is in the $70 range, yet your price at the pump hit an all-time high in BC. And motorists are quick to point out to all the taxes we pay, 1/3 of that price is all tax. But as this chart shows, taxes have not changed much over the last 8 years, running in the 50 cent a litre range. But the price of gasoline has been soaring, especially in the last 2 years, and every summer we get the same supply and demand story.
There's not a single person who's shown up to a gas station and had the pumps be empty, right? So all of the gas that's being demanded by consumers in Vancouver is being supplied to consumers of Vancouver. They've just been told a story that implies that there are some shortages that justify them raising prices, and if people are willing to believe it, then they're able to make higher profits.
Calls to the Parkland Fuel Corporation, owners of the Burnaby refinery, were not returned. Last quarter, Parkland reported a record quarterly profit of $469 million.
This is a place where it's been hard to be happy.
It's not fun. Yeah, it's just steadily getting higher and higher.
The prices here in this city are incredible. They're stupid.
But this week, 2 Saanich stations offered a gas reprieve.
Yeah, I noticed the price, and that's why I'm here.
Prices at a 7-Eleven and an Esso dipped by nearly 10 cents, hovering around $1.39 a liter.
It's great, love it. I mean, it's probably going to go up next week, though, so can't get too excited.
Why do you think gas stations are able to drop by 8-10 cents right now?
Well, they're able to because they've been overcharging for years.
Independent economist Robin Allen says the price blip is a sign of just one thing.
British Columbians are price gouged at the pumps.
CTV asked both stations why they dropped prices and got only silence. Allen says her research offers a clear answer.
They don't even have to collude. They don't even have to talk about it. They just know they can take advantage of our market. And we don't have government intervening and making sure prices are fair. So they're getting away with it.
Industry experts have said refinery issues and supply shortfalls have spiked prices in BC. Allen claims that is false. Taking a David position,
you can drop those prices.
She claims Goliath is unchecked and running wild.
Why? You know, I know you want to make a profit, but at the same time, you're killing the small guys.
If there was relief here, it was short. Just as CTV began following this story, prices went back up.
Many drivers headed to Whistler wait till Squamish to fill their tank.
We always compare it to Vancouver, and it's always cheaper here. So that's why we're buying it here.
Gas is a little less per litre in Squamish than Metro Vancouver, but it should be a lot less.
There's 11-cent difference in theory from Lower Mainland and here. It should be 11 cents cheaper.
That's because Squamish gas stations, like the ones in Abbotsford, don't have to charge the TransLink tax. Squamish should be the same price as Abbotsford.
I would think so.
Even though the taxes are the same, gas stations here in Squamish routinely charge 6 to 8 cents more than they do in Abbotsford. In fact, the after-tax price here in Squamish is the highest in BC.
There's only one way to explain it. They're taking advantage of the fact that people come up this corridor and they always fill up in Squamish to get to Whistler and back, and the local people suffer.
The mayor has lobbied provincial governments to step in.
They all sort of shrug their shoulders and say there's nothing we can really do about it.
So she's taking her complaint to the Federal Competition Bureau.
My understanding is if you ask them to look, they have to look, so they'll do that.
In the meantime, Squamish residents have no choice. They have to fill up here.
I don't know why we pay more and why people put up with it.
And gas retailers who all refuse to talk to us about pricing, who are supposed to be competitors, almost always charge the same.
Somebody is allowing somebody to be the leader here, and they're not saying who it is.
They really don't give us the real information at the end of the day. You know, I think they're withholding something.
The town's getting really angry about it, actually. It's ridiculous. It's unfair. It's punitive to our local citizens.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Squamish.
Came at Ottawa and Alberta over the potential of using tax dollars to fund the Trans Mountain Pipeline.
The federal governments and the government of Alberta have suggested they're going to take tax money and drive it into a pipeline. And I would suggest if we're going to be taking tax money and giving it to what is one of the most profitable sectors in the economy, the oil and gas sector, that we should be doing it with a view to helping people.